The war between humans and the Zelthar Empire had dragged on for years. Both sides were exhausted, bleeding resources and lives into the void of space. I never imagined I would end up stranded behind enemy lines, let alone inside the royal cruiser of the Zelthar themselves. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in a chamber filled with silver light. Strange blue symbols floated across the walls. The air smelled faintly metallic. My chest burned where the plasma blast had grazed me during the crash. I tried to sit up, but a smooth, gloved hand pressed gently on my shoulder. "Stay still, human," came a calm, melodic voice. I turned my head and froze. Standing before me was a tall, Zeltharian female, her violet skin glowing faintly beneath silver armor plates that shimmered like liquid moonlight. Her hair, or what passed for it, seemed to ripple with light. "I am Princess Lysera of the Zelthar Dominion," she said, adjusting a small circular device on her wrist. "You are aboard my ship. You were found unconscious near the wreckage of your fighter." "Princess?" I repeated weakly, still trying to process everything. "Why save me? I am your enemy." Her bright golden eyes met mine. Perhaps the universe has a strange sense of humor. Days passed. My wound healed slowly under Zeltharian technology, and I began to observe Lysera more closely. She was unlike the warriors I had seen before, calm, curious, and strangely human in her quiet gestures. Sometimes she asked about Earth, about music and oceans and sunlight. Other times she simply worked in silence, repairing her battle armor piece by piece. One night, as the ship drifted in the dark between stars, I found her in the armory. Her armor lay disassembled across a long table. A spark of light danced across her gauntlet as she welded a small crack. I stood hesitantly by the doorway. "You can come closer, human," she said without looking up. "Your stare is louder than footsteps." "I was just wondering if you needed help," I replied, stepping closer. Her lips curved slightly. "You think you can repair Zeltharian royal armor?" "I can try," I said. "Engineering is still engineering." She handed me a tool, her fingers brushing mine. A strange warmth passed through me. As I bent to examine the armor, she leaned in closer, inspecting my work. Then, softly, her voice brushed my ear. "Do not be shy, human." For the first time since the war began, I forgot which side I was on.
I could feel her presence beside me as I worked. The hum of the plasma, torch, and the faint rhythm of her breathing. The only sounds in the chamber. Princess Lysera observed every movement I made, her eyes glowing like liquid gold beneath the cold blue lights. "You are precise," she said finally, her tone soft yet measured. "For a species that relies so much on instinct. Instinct helps when you are trying not to get vaporized." I replied with a faint smile. She tilted her head, almost amused. "Humor. I have studied it in human communication. It is used to hide fear." "Sometimes," I said, "and sometimes to feel alive." For a brief moment, silence settled between us, heavy but not uncomfortable. She turned her gaze to the armor chest plate before us. The metal shimmered as if alive, its surface flowing slightly as it adjusted to the ship's gravity. "This armor was my mother's," she said quietly. "It saved her life during the siege of Phalaris. Now I must wear it in the next council duel." "Council duel?" I asked. "It is how the royal line defends its right to rule. My brother challenges me. He believes peace with your kind is weakness." Her voice carried no anger, only sorrow. I wanted to say something comforting, but what words could cross the gulf between two worlds? Instead, I focused on the final joint of her armor, connecting its power conduits. The faint pulse of blue light spread across the plates, signaling completion. She looked at me with genuine surprise. "It is stable," she murmured. "Better than before." "I told you," I said. "Engineering is still engineering." Lysera stepped closer, her gaze fixed on me as if studying a puzzle she could not solve. "You are different from the soldiers I have fought. You build instead of destroy." "I have done my share of both," I said softly. She reached out, placing her hand lightly on my chest where the burn mark had once been. "This wound is healed," she whispered. "Yet I sense another remains." Before I could answer, a sharp tone echoed through the chamber. A holographic projection appeared in the air, an urgent transmission. A Zeltharian officer's face filled the light. "Your Highness," he said, his voice tense. Human fleets are advancing toward the Nebra sector. Your brother commands the vanguard. Lysira's calm expression hardened. She turned toward the window, where distant stars glimmered like sparks before a storm. The war is not finished, she said, but perhaps it is time someone changed its ending. She looked back at me, her eyes fierce yet uncertain. Will you help me, human? I did not hesitate. Yes. The control deck of Lysira's cruiser trembled as the engines ignited. Outside the viewport, streaks of light stretched across the void as the ship accelerated toward the Nebra sector. The stars blurred into lines of white fire. I stood beside her, still half-dazed that I had agreed to help an alien princess stop a war. The plan was dangerous. Lysira intended to face her brother in the council duel before the fleets clashed. If she could defeat him in ritual combat, the Zeltharian war code would force all commanders to stand down. But if she failed, both of us would die before the first peace could ever begin. When the ship dropped out of warp, the sight was breathtaking. Hundreds of vessels, human and Zeltharian, stood ready for battle. Their weapons charged, their engines burning blue and red. Between them, an ancient platform floated in orbit, the arena of royal challenge. Lysira adjusted her newly repaired armor, the same armor I had helped restore. The silver plates shimmered with faint blue veins of energy. She turned to me, her face calm but her voice low. If I do not return. I shook my head. You will. I made sure that armor will not fail. A faint smile touched her lips. Then I will trust both our skills. She stepped into the teleport ring and vanished in a burst of white light. I ran to the viewing deck, my heart pounding as the duel began. Her brother, Prince Kareth, stood tall in black armor, his spear humming with lethal power. Lysira faced him with grace, her movements fluid, every strike precise. Sparks exploded across the arena as metal clashed against metal. For a while, it seemed balanced, then Kareth struck her hard, sending her sliding backward. A crack formed across her shoulder plate. My heart froze. Come on, Lysira, I whispered. Hold on. She rose slowly, the light of her armor dimming. Then her hand brushed the piece I had reinforced, the chest plate that carried my design. It glowed brighter, channeling excess energy into her blade. With a swift motion, she turned defense into attack and struck a single decisive blow. Kareth fell, his weapon clattering to the floor. Silence filled the air. Then, one by one, Zeltharian ships powered down their weapons. Lysira stood victorious. The duel was over. Moments later, she reappeared beside me. The glow around her softened as she removed her helmet. You see, human, she said with quiet triumph. Sometimes repair is stronger than destruction. I smiled, feeling the weight of peace settle over the stars. And sometimes, I said, the smallest fix can change the fate of worlds. Her golden eyes met mine, and for the first time, the universe felt whole.